To neighbours in his Ipswich suburb, Ryland Headley was a kind, respectful 92-year-old who adored his family and cared for his garden. But he harboured a secret. He was an unaliver and he had evaded justice for 60 years. Today in the UK, Ryland Headley was given a life sentence for taking the life of Louisa Dunn, found in her home unalive in 1967. Let's talk about it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, subbies. What me wagon is them? Wagwan, everybody. Hope you're okay. Hope all's going well. Welcome to a new week. And wow, what did I see on the news this morning? If this is the first time you're coming to the channel, please stop, subscribe, click on the notification bell, click all so that when I drop the video, you get the call. Guys, look upon this thumbnail here. This man, what his name? Headley, right? He murdered this lady in 1967. Ryland Headley is his name. He unalived this lady in 1967, Louisa Dunn. He raped her and he unalived her. And he's been living good life for 60 years, have family, house and garden. And he knows what he done. And when you go into it all, guys, he actually went to prison already. I think it's 3 different times for rape. But on this occasion, he actually took her life. And, you know, took her life. So he went one step ahead. And back in that day, a large fingerprint or handprint was left behind what they had found, and also some DNA. So now, 2025, DNA catch him. I couldn't believe it. I was here today and I was listening to the news, but I wasn't looking at the TV. And when I actually looked and I saw this black man, this is me, OMG. What is this? You know? So let me read about this man to you, right? What I found on the Google there. So it says here, the life of Ryland Headley. Records show little about Headley's early life. He was born in September 1932 and arrived in Plymouth from the West Indies on the Reina del Mar, which would be a ship, on the 6th of July 1952. So far, guys, it just says he arrives from the West Indies. But I'm wondering, where is he from? Is he Jamaican? Ryland Headley? I don't know. Comment below. Does anybody know this man? Anybody related? Anybody know of this man? Anyway, by 1958, he had moved to Bristol, where he had married and had 3 children in the late 50s and early 60s. He lived in Picton Street, Montpellier, I think that you pronounce that, right? When he unalived Louisa Dunn in 1967, he would have been 34 years old. A large fingerprint search at the time saw police take prints of nearly 20,000 men in the area, but Headley was living just outside of the parameters, allowing him to go unchecked. Soon after, police sources say he moved to Ipswich, and by the early 70s he was working as a machinist, but he was also a prolific burglar. He broke into at least 10 properties in Ipswich from 1973 to 1977 and was attacking elderly women again. On October of that year, he broke into the home of an 84-year-old woman through a ground floor window. He found the widow in bed and put his hands over her face and head. Prosecuting barrister told the jury at the Bristol Crown Court the elderly woman said she would scream, and he replied to her, "If you do that, that would be worse for you." He then subjected his victim to a grape attack. And 4 weeks later, he raped a 79-year-old woman at her home in Ipswich. She awoke to find Headley in her bedroom. Jesus Christ, I can't believe it. Anyhow, them did catch him over here, the British people, they would have lynched his arse. He deserved to be lynched. Mrs. Viggers said he told her that he had a firearm and said, "If you do what I tell you, you'll be all right. If not, I will unalive you." Headley then attacked the woman and stole £7 and fled. He was traced by his fingerprints. That was back in the 70s, you know, guys. Right? When he done this to these two women. When he pled guilty to these grapes in 1978, he asked for the 10 burglaries to be taken in account. Headley was jailed for life. What? Guys, as I read, I'm learning. But in 1979, his lawyers successfully argued that this should be reduced to 7 years. You see how England is funny? He got life for the 3 grapes, and then from life it went to 7 years. Doctors had examined Headley's prison record and said he was not a criminal psychopath, and blamed his grapes on unhappy marriage to an ambitious and demanding wife. Guys, comment below. You see how the world is, what is run by men and look like run by some narcissistic men. This man got 7 years after being given life. British law, right? After being given life, he got 7 years because prosecution was able to prove that he was in an unhappy marriage to an ambitious and demanding wife. That caused him to go out there and grape till in the end him unalive somebody. That's why we will see things like Creepy Crawley's case getting dropped, because the wrong people are sitting on the benches making these decisions, right? But as you can see, this wasn't a case dropped, but this is what they call cold case. It was never closed for 60 years. And then some officers picked up back the case, 2025, DNA, where in the times of science is at its highest, man get catch. Yeah? So Headley was released from prison in the 1980s and returned home. He was arrested in 2012 for an offence which wasn't proceeded with, but officers in Ipswich took a cheek swab of DNA, and this was lying on the National DNA Database when cold case detectives in Bristol re-examined DNA from Louisa Dunn's clothes. When he was arrested in 2012, he only gave fingerprints, not palm prints, to the officers. They said he wasn't able to because of acute arthritis. There was a palm print at the scene of Louisa Dunn's unaliving, so these fingerprints didn't form a match. When he was arrested on suspicion of her unaliving in 2024. So he's been now arrested since 2024, guys. His new set of prints match the one at the scene in 1967. Wow, wow, wow. So, guys, his palm print matched, and I'm sure there was some DNA. They showed a skirt. This particular part is finished. They showed a skirt, and I think DNA was found on there. And for the British guys, you can go on ITVX. There's a whole show on how they caught him, the whole criminal thing. Crime watch, let's call it, true crime, on how they caught this man. But me not gonna tell no lie, me feel shame, guys. I feel shame. For this man to be doing this in the Windrush days, you know, when people weren't even coming there on aeroplane, they were coming on ship. He was very brave to be out there in England in them days when there was real, you know, colorism and racism and like, you know, he was brave to do that in those days. If they did ever catch him over here, may I tell you, they would have stoned him till him unalive. So for 56 years, nearly 60 years, this man has been living the life of Riley. He's been in and out of jail. He was known to police. Yeah. Boy. And he unalived this lady. And her granddaughter was on the news today. Her granddaughter was 20 at the time. And she was on the news today, and she said it's just sad that people who was alive at the time that loved my grandmother are not alive now to see that she will get justice. Because this man's 92, but he's got life now. Him get life now again. And if they had stuck to the life at the time, he had got a life sentence before, this lady would have been alive. Or no, I can't remember the dates. Or he had done her already. He took her life in 67 and he was given a life sentence after that. And he got out and he had already, in 1979, he was sentenced to life, but it was reduced to 7 years after the prosecutors said his wife was too ambitious and demanding. But he had already taken this lady's life in 1967. Can you imagine, guys? Comment below. I just thought I'd share this with you. This was the breaking news this morning. It's been on the news all day. And then I want to know what country he comes from. I have no idea. If anybody knows, comment below. It just says Caribbean. It's not saying exactly what country he comes from. Headley sounds very Jamaican to me. The name Headley. I know a Headley, elderly man, and a Jamaica I'm come from. This guy's name is Ryland Headley. Can you imagine? Guys? Can you imagine? Here they said that he was always saying to his neighbours how that he's lucky to be in such a great neighbourhood and how he's lucky to have such great friends. He's lucky to have his cat. He's lucky to have his garden. He's lucky to have his fish. Because he knew what was going on in his mind. He knew what he had done. And maybe he turned a corner in his head over the years, but him know where him do. Right? So him know when he was there saying him lucky, he had been lucky for 56 years, but your luck ran out. Your luck run out. Yeah? What a disgrace. What a disgrace. I suppose we'd have to look up to see what ship, what country did it come from? Stick a pin, guys. So, guys, I found something on Google. This ship, Reina del Mar, it sailed through like the Panama Canal and places like Ecuador, Peru, Chile, but it did make stops also in different ports in the West Indies, sailing via Europe over to Liverpool, right? And the ship was built in 1955. But it's not saying what islands of the West Indies, and this report says he came over from the West Indies. So I don't know. Anybody know this guy or who's related to him or who's a friend of him? Drop a comment below. And I just thought I'd share this news with you. And I'll be back soon with another video. Let me know your thoughts on this one, guys. I believe it's worth locking up the man still. I don't care if he's 92 years old. He's still alive. He could live till he's 105. He deserves to take punishment for all of this stuff. Because even after he unalived that woman, he went back another 3 times what people reported. Who knows how many people he troubled and they never really even reported it. He went back after he took Louisa Dunn's life. He went back and he still committed more crime, went to jail, got sentenced, got off. My goodness. It's definitely a man's world. Cases get dropped. Kids don't get listened to. You know? Case get dropped because his sentence is dropped from life because they said his wife was too ambitious and demanding. He was in an unhappy marriage. So they accepted this caused him to go out and grape. You see the kind of world? Huh? You see the kind of world? And we haven't come that far forward because look, their creepy corrally case drop without anybody even really looking into it properly, as far as I'm concerned. You understand? Yeah. Hear me? You understand that you're here. Anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe. And I'll be back soon with another video. I'm out.